Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're looking at the shocking world of welcome back to next episode of Director's Chair. Today we're looking at the shocking world of Brian De Palma. So let's get into it. Welcome back to next episode of Director's Chair, where we look at talk about directors. Today we're looking at the shocking world of Brian De Palma. Before I do that, don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell. How's your algorithm? So Brian De Palma, he's an American film director and screenwriter with a career spanning over 50 years. He's best known for his work in suspense, crime, and psychological thriller genres. De Palma was a leading member of the new Hollywood generation of film directors. His directors often use quotations from other films for cinematic and sometimes. Alfred Hitchcock and Jean-Luc Godard. His work has been criticized for its violence and sexual content, but has become championed by American critics such as Roger Ebert and Pauline Kael. So I'm going to go through his movies. So his first movie was Murder a la Mode. This came in 1968. This was Brian De Palma's first film as a director and writer. It was an experimental low-budget murder mystery. It was shot in black. It was shot in a black and white 16mm film. It starred William Finley and Jared Martin. And I've not seen this movie. I don't know if it's good or not. So that's Murder a la Mode. And then after that, he did then also in 1968, he did Greetings, which was a black comedy film. So it's Robert Downey. This stars Jonathan Morgan, Robert De Niro, Garrett Graham, Anne Garfield, Ross Kelly, Peter Maloney, Tanya Alder, and Megan McCormack. And it made and this features a young Robert De Niro in his first major film. It was the first American film to receive an X rating by the Motion Picture Association of America, MPAA, although it was later given an R rating. And I have not seen this movie either, so that's Greetings. Then in 1969, we had The Wedding Party. Now this was a film farce. And this starred Robert De Niro and Joe Clay and it made and this movie, though, I have not seen this movie. I don't know if it's good or not, but so yeah, that's The Wedding Party. Then in 1970 we had Hi Mom. This was a black comedy film. And this starred Charles Durning, Robert De Niro, Jennifer Salt, Garrett Graham, Laura Parker, and Alan Garfield. So yeah, Robert De Niro reprised his role of John Reuben from Greetings, and so yeah, I've not seen this movie either. I don't know if one's good or not. Then also in 1970 we had Dionysus in 69. This starred William Finley and yeah, so yeah, I've not seen this movie. I don't know if it's good or not, but so yeah, that's Dionysus in 69. Then 1972 we had Get to Know Your Rabbit. This was a black comedy. This was a comedy film. It's Tom Smothers, John Austin, Catherine Ross, Orson Welles, Suzanne Zeno, and Garfield. I've not seen this movie as well. Then in 1972, also in 1972, we had Sisters. This is a psychological horror film. It starred Margaret Kidder, Jennifer Salt, Charles Durning, Bill Finley, and Liesl Wilson. It only made $1,500,000 budget. This movie was I've not seen this movie, so our sisters. It received praise from critics who noted its adept performance and use of homage. It marked the first thriller for De Palma, who followed it with other shocking thrillers that went on to become a cult film in the years after its release. Then in 1974, we had Phantom of the Paradise, which was a rock musical comedy film, and this starred Paul Williams, William Finley, George Mimoli, Harold Odlow, Archie Hahn, Jeffrey Comana, Gary Graham, and Jessica Harper. And I've not seen this movie. The film was a box office bomb, received negative reviews, consummationally, while earning praise for its music. However, over the years, the film has received much more positive reviews and has become a cult film. Then in 1976, we had Obsession, which was a neo-noir psychological thriller. This starred Cliff Robertson, Genevieve Bujold, and John Lithgow. Made $4.5 million on $1.4 million budget. It became De Palma's first substantial box office success and received mixed reviews from critics. I've not seen this movie either. Then in 1976, we had Carrie, which was a supernatural horror film. It is based on the 1974 novel of the same name by Stephen King. And this stars Sissy Spacek, Amy Irvin, Betty Buckley, Nancy Allen, William Kratt, John Travolta, PJ Souls, and Piper Laurie. And it made $33.8 million on $1.8 million budget. And this movie's okay. And I love this movie. I think this is probably one of the best De Palma movies. I actually like this one. This first film in the Carrie franchise. I think this is probably the best one. And so yeah, critics and audience members are widely cited as the best adaptation of the novel amongst the numerous films and television shows based on the character, as well one of the best films based on King's publications. The film has significant popular culture, with several publications going as one of the greatest horror films ever made. And so yeah, so let's carry. At least this one's the best one in the franchise. Obviously, we had sequels, we had remakes, and we had musicals. So yeah, that is Carrie. Great movie. In the 1978, we had The Fury, with a supernatural thriller film. And it starred Kirk Douglas, John Cassavetes, Amy Irvin, Carrie Snodgrass, Charles Durning, and Andrew Stevens. It made for $24 million on $7.5 million budget. The film was both critically and commercially successful. And yeah, so this movie was. Don't say this. This movie's okay. That's The Fury. Then in 1979, we had Home Movies, which is an independent film, and this starred Kirk Douglas, Vincent Gardenia, Nancy Allen, Keith Gordon, Gary Graham, and Teresa Saldana. Yeah, they made $89,400 budget. And I have not seen this movie either. The 1980 we had Dressed to Kill. This was erotic psychological thriller film, and this starred Michael Caine, Angie Dickinson, Nancy Allen, Keith Gordon, Dennis Franz, David Marcus. It made $3.19 million on a $6.5 million budget. It received favorable reviews, and despite its critical acclaim, the film was met with disapproval by several feminist organizations in the United States. He criticized the representation of transgender people and women against violence against women. But this movie's good. It's okay. Yeah, so that's Dress to Kill. Then 1981, we had Blowout, which was a Leo Dewar mystery thriller film. And this starred John Travolta, Nancy Allen, John Lithgow, Dennis Franz. It made $30.8 million, $18 million budget. And open to minuscule audience interest at the time of the release, despite receiving mostly positive critical reception. The lead performed by Travolta and Allen, direction by De Palma, and the visual style were cited as the strong points of the film. Critics recognize the stylish and narrative connection to the film, to the work of Alfred Hitchcock, one De Palma admires, and Giallo films. And so yeah, this movie's okay. So that's Blowout. Then 1983, we had Scarface. Now this was a crime drama film, and it's based on the 1929 novel of the same name. And it was also by Armitage Trail and serving as a loose remake of the 1932 film. And it starred Al Pacino, Steve Boer, Michelle Pfeiffer, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, Robert Loggia, Miriam Colin, F. Murray I. Abraham, and Paul Schiner. And this made $66 million on $23.537 million budget. Initial critical reception was negative due to its excessive violence, profanity, and graphic drug usage. Some Cuban expatriates in Miami objected to the film's portrayal of Cubans as criminals and drug traffickers. In the years followed, critics have reappraised it, and is now considered one of the greatest gangster films ever made. Screenwriters and directors such as Martin Scorsese have praised the film, and has been referenced extensively in pop culture, especially in hip-hop music, as well as comic books, television programs, and video games. The film has come to be regarded as a cult classic, and I think this is probably my favorite Brian De Palma film. It's the most famous one. It's the most recognizable film. When people think of Brian De Palma, they automatically think of this film. And I love Scarface, the iconic scene with the gun. Say hello to my little friend. It's a great movie. There was going to be a sequel, but it got cancelled. There was going to be a remake. And in 2022, the film was reportedly shelved. This movie's perfect. It doesn't need a remake, but this is one time where a remake is actually better than the original. So Scarface. Then 1984, we had Body Double, which was erotic thriller. Just starred Craig Wasson, Greg Henry, Melanie Griffith, and Deborah Shelton. It made $8.8 million, $10 million budget. At the time of release, the film received lukewarm. This has a box office mixed reviews. Melanie Griffith's performance and praise, and subsequently, it has been rare received as now considered a cult film. And this movie is I've not said of this movie, but it's fine. It's not one of my favorite De Niro movies, but yeah. So so that's Body Double. Then in 1980, Then in 1986, we had Wise Guys. This is about comedy crime film. This starred Danny DeVito, Joe Piscopo, Harvey Keitel, Ray Sharkey, and Captain Lou Albano. It made $8.4 million, $30 million budget. And yeah, this movie is good. It's okay. It's the Wise Guys. Then 1987, we had The Untouchables. This was a crime film. The film is loosely based on the book of the same name, by Elliot Ness. and this starred Kevin Costner, Charles Martin Smith, Andy Garcia, Robert De Niro, and Sean Connery. It made $106.2 million on a $25 million budget. It received generally positive reviews, and this one's good. I think it's probably my second favorite De Palma movie off Scarface. That's Untouchables. Then in 1989 we had Casualties of War, which is a war drama film, and this starred Michael J. Fox and Sean Penn. It made $18.7 million, $22.5 million budget. This movie is good. I actually enjoyed this movie. That's Casualties of War. And then 1990 we had the Bonfire of the Vanities. This starred Tom Hanks, Bruce Willis, Manny Griffith, Morgan Freeman, and Kim Cattrall, and it made $15.6 million on $47 million budget. The film was a box office bomb. The controversy around the film were detained in the 1991 book The Devil's Candy, The Bonfire of the Vanities Goes to Hollywood. And this movie is fine. It's fine. Then in 1992 we had Raising Cain, which is a psychological horror thriller film. This starred John Lithgow, Lolita David Ovich, Steve Bauer, Francis Dunhagen, and it made $37.1 million on $12 million budget. And this one's good. I actually enjoy this one. So that's Raising Cain. Then in 1993 we had Carlito's Way, and this one, it was a crime drama film based on the novels Carlito's Way and After Hours by Judge Edward Torres. And this starred Al Pacino, Sean Penn, and Penelope Ann Miller. It made $63 million on a $30 million budget. It received positive response from critics, with a lukewarm result at the box office, but has subsequently become a cult film. A prequel titled Carlito's Way, Rise to Power, based on the first novel, was released direct-to-video in 2005. And this one's good. I actually enjoy it. I think it's one of the best movies, the best De Palma movies we've had. And then, 1996 we had Mission Impossible. Now this was an action spy film. It's a continuation of the 1966 television series of the same name and its 1988 sequel series. Canonically set 6 years after the latter, is the first installment in the Mission Impossible film series, and this starred Tom Cruise, John Voight, Emmanuel Burt, Henry Czerny, Ving Rhames, Christian Scott Thomas, Vanessa Redgrave, and Gene Russo. It made $457.7 million on $80 million budget. It received mixed to reviews and critics, but praise for the action sequences, De Palma's direction, and Cruise's performance, but criticism for the convoluted plot. Cast members of the original television series large negative received the film, and the film grossed $457.7 million, making the third Hot Jones film of 1996, and So that's Mission Impossible, which is good. It's not my favorite Mission Impossible movie. And then 1998 we had Snake Eyes, which was a mystery suspense thriller film. This starred Nicolas Cage, Gary Sinise, John Hurd, Carla Gugino, Stan Shaw, and Kevin Dunn. Made $103.9 million, $73 million budget. The film got mixed reviews, criticizing the film's story, writing, and pacing, while praising its style and performances. And this was an okay movie. And then in 2000 we had Mission to Mars. Now this was a science fiction adventure film. This starred Gary Sinise, Don Cheadle, Connie Nielsen, Jerry O'Connell, Kim Delaney, and Tim Roberts, and made $111 million, $100 million budget. It received mainly negative reviews, but so it's whatever. It's an okay movie. Then in 2002 we had Femme Fatale. Now this was erotic thriller and film. And so as Antonio Banderas, Rebecca Romagen, Peter Coyote. It made $16.8 million, $35 million budget. The film became a box office flop. However, the film has since been better received by many film critics and gradually regarded as a cult classic. And so yeah, it's Femme Fatale. It's an okay movie. Then in 2006 we had The Black Dahlia, a neo-noir crime thriller. It's based on the 1987 novel Saint Anne by James Elroy. It starred Josh Hartnell, Scarlett Johansson, Aaron Eckhart, Hilary Swank, Mia Kirshner, Mike Starr, and Fiona Shaw, and it made $49.3 million, $50 million budget. And it received mixed to negative reviews. It was a box office flop and met with largely negative critical reception, effectively ousting De Palma from the Hollywood studio system. Its subsequent films have been filmed and financed overseas, despite its critical and financial failure. And yeah, this is not my favorite. It's one of my least favorite De Palma movie. Then 2007 we had Redacted, which was a war film. It's loosely based on the 2006 Mahmoud Darya killings, and this stars Ty Jones, Keller Neal, Daniel Stewart Sherman, Izzy Diaz, Robert Devaney, and Project Carol. It made $780,000, $5 million budget. It received mixed reviews from critics and a poor financial response in its limited US release. This movie's fine. In 2012 we had Passion, which was an erotic thriller film starring Rachel McAdams, Naomi Rapace, Caroline Herfurth, and Paul Anderson. It is an English language remake of Elaine Coronet's 2010 thriller film Love Crime, but with the ending greatly altered. It made $1.3 million on a $25 million budget, and this one is fine. I've not watched the original one, so that's Passion. And then finally, 2019, we had Domino, which was a crime thriller film, and it starred Nico Jocasta, Waldo, Clarice Van Houten, Guy Pearce, Eric Ibernay, and it made $426,000. It received very negative reviews. De Palma has expressed discontentment with the final film, revealing in interviews that due to the production issues, considerable sections of the original script were not filmed as intended. This one is fine. It's not my favorite one. So that's it. That is Brian. I like Brian De Palma. I don't think it's a bad movie done. I like most of his movies. That is it. That is the shocking world of Brian De Palma. So guys, so much my video. Also, when I can buy.